Yo, guys, it's been a while since we covered Floyd Shivambu, and a lot has happened since then. The guy now has his own political party, Africa Maibuya Movement. And you remember a couple of months ago, Floyd Shivambu was going around the country, apparently consulting with South Africans to see if the people of this country wants a new political party or not. Now, Shivambu himself is coming out with a brand new political party, and he's telling us that South Africans want a new political party because the already existing political parties are failing to represent them. So Floyd Shivambu himself, the Messiah, and his own political party are here to service the people of this country because the already existing political parties have totally failed the people of this country. And this is exactly what we said when Floyd Shivambu started to speak about Maibuya consultations. We told them that there's absolutely no way that Floyd Shivambu is going to come to us to tell us that South Africans do not want a new political party. There's absolutely no way he was going to do that. So we knew from the go that now Floyd Shivambu is actually looking to establish his own political party. And the guy has been involved in a lot of controversy. A lot. And recently there was a controversy surrounding the logo of his own political party. So the fighters, the EFF supporters, they are not happy. Some of them, they are not happy about the logo of Africa Maibuya movement. They say that Floyd Shivambu has actually copied the logo of the Economic Freedom Fighters. And Floyd Shivambu says, no, I have not copied the logo of the Economic Freedom Fighters. And I think, again, this is one thing that the fighters needs to make peace with. The fact, as long as Floyd Shivambu exists, he will always be linked with the EFF. So Floyd Shivambu, speaking about the EFF, this is something that he's going to do for a very long time. He's going to do this for a very long time. And I don't think that a journalist can actually sit in front of Floyd Shivambu and avoid asking Floyd Shivambu totally about the EFF. So he will always say something about the EFF. There's always going to be something that he's going to say about the leader of the EFF. There's always going to be something that he's going to say about the policies of the EFF or how the EFF interprets his policies. And most of the time, he is going to upset the fighters. I see the fighters on social media, they are saying, no, man, Floyd Shivambu needs to stop talking about the economic freedom fighters. Stop talking about the economic freedom fighters. Just focus on your Africa Maibuya movement. There's absolutely no way. This is not how politics work. This is not how politics work. And we see the left fracturing even more. We see the left fracturing even more because when you look at people like Floyd Shivambu, Jacob Zuma, and by extension, maybe let's say ANC and ATM, and these people, they are fighting for the same base. They are fighting for the same base, despite them telling us that no, there needs to be progressive forces. We need to come together as the progressives in this country so that we can take back our country. But the truth of the matter is that none of these people wants to be led by another. Floyd Shivambu does not want to be led by Julius Malema. Julius Malema does not want to be led by Jacob Zuma. Jacob Zuma does not want to be led by Vuyo Zungula. So all of these people, they don't want to be led by one another. This is the reason why they will continue to open their own political parties and divide the so-called black vote. They always talk about the black vote as if the people are a monolith. They always speak about the black vote, that no, we need to make sure that we bring in all the black vote under one umbrella. But this is not what they are practicing. This is not what they are practicing. All of these people are looking out for themselves. All of these people are looking out for their own political parties. They don't care about the so-called ideology of the left. They don't care about the so-called South Africans that needs to be liberated, because these are just some of the things that Floyd Shivambu was saying. You remember at the MK party, Floyd Shivambu telling South Africans that the MK party, it is a liberation movement. But now he's telling South Africans that the MK party, it is not a real political party. The same way that right now he is discrediting the EFF. But when it comes to discrediting the EFF, I fully understand why Floyd Shivambu is going at the EFF, because he wants the same base. These people are fighting for the same base. And now, the guy recently did an interview on SABC. And again, he was questioned about the EFF. And the fighters are not happy about what Floyd Shivambu said. Just listen to what this guy says.
Natural death Now, the issue which actually a lot of the traditional leadership inputs that we got, and even from the religious institutions, was the question of whether the two other existing black political formations are correct instrument to could replace the ANC, which is going to naturally die because it has lost its relevance, it has fulfilled its historical mission. And a correct response, which I can corroborate with practical knowledge of, and intimate knowledge of what happens in both of the two other black organizations, they are not the alternatives. The EFF is not an alternative to the crisis of South Africa. If anything,
And this is the reason why these political parties that call themselves the so-called black political parties, this is the reason why they are going to find it very hard to grow in this country, because they are limiting themselves. You look at South Africa, you look at how diverse this country is. You don't want to be a political leader that only wants to represent the so-called black people, because even when it comes to voting, black people, they are the majority voters, but they don't go out to vote as much. They don't go out to vote as much. And if we were to put into comparisons, if we were to put in the figures, you would find that maybe other races, they are going out with more numbers than us. So this thing of them trying to be the so-called black political parties, I don't see how they are going to grow. I don't see how they are going to grow, because South Africa is transforming, and the people of this country, they are transforming too. So this rhetoric, it is not going to help anybody. It is not.
its historical mission. And a correct response, which I can corroborate with practical knowledge of, and intimate knowledge of what happens in both of the two other black organizations, they are not the alternatives. The EFF is not an alternative to the crisis of South Africa. If anything, it will deepen the crisis of South Africa.
Why?
Because it's directionless, one, but two, it has adopted habits and mannerisms of the African National Congress. I think we've made this observation publicly that if you check the conduct of its deployees in government, it's not dissimilar from what the ANC deployees do. And I know this because when I was in the EFF, I was responsible for government or governance. So a lot of complaints would be brought about the conduct of those that are deployed in government. And whenever we'll intervene, there will be an organizational resolution to protect wrongdoing. So that is part of the reasons why we have to disassociate from such a movement that develops and adapts mannerisms of an organization.
But you held the second most powerful position.
Man, I wonder when is Floyd Shivambu going to tell us, or when is Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema going to tell us why are they fighting? Why are they fighting? They need to tell us why are they fighting, because clearly whatever that Floyd Shivambu and Malema are fighting for is quite deep, man. It's quite deep, and I think all of these political jabs, I don't think they are it. There's something that Floyd Shivambu and Julius Malema are fighting over.
Such a movement that develops and adapts mannerisms of an organization.
But you held the second most powerful position in that party.
So this is what happens.
Are you therefore saying that you were powerless to correct the wrongs that you were observing?
So this is what happens with my organizational character. Everyone else that we have led with before is that I will never impose my individual views and perspectives on the collective. In many instances, even when you know that this is not consistent with your personal beliefs and values, I've always subjected, and I will always subject myself to the collective view. And I always teach about and preach democratic centralism because I believe it holds organizations together.
So,
but let me
ask this. Let me ask this before you complete.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, sure.
How soon into the existence of the said party did you notice that behavior?
So the participation in government, and I purposefully...
PMD offers comprehensive car insurance that you can trust from as little as $620.
Purposefully pushed that the party should participate in government because I wanted to check the conduct of some of the individuals. And you must remember that the participation in government happened, I think, from the last 3 years. Before that, it was just an opposition party. But direct participation in the government happened in the participation in the city of Johannesburg after the reconstituting of the municipality and Ekurhuleni, Nelson Mandela Bay,
City of Tshwane.
and Tshwane and all of those other areas. And some of the conducts and habits of some people, it's what they were accused of when they were very young elsewhere, in terms of how they related with government, their mannerisms, the directives that they would give to those that are deployed in government. And ourselves, as a far much more organized formation and guidance to those who are deployed in government, would have weekly meetings in Sakina and say, how many jobs have we created this week? What programs are you going to do to impact on the people this week? And then get account on that. But that got to be abolished, and a different mandate of self-enrichment was imposed on those that are deployed in government. That is when some of us began to pull back and say that this is not what we founded. This is what we can never associate with such a type of politics in terms of what got to happen.
I mean, like, you know, guys, one thing about Floyd Shivambu that actually makes it hard, even for me to look at him as a credible politician, is that Floyd Shivambu never takes accountability for any of his actions. I have never heard Floyd Shivambu saying that I am responsible for that thing that happened and it was wrong. It was my fault and I apologize. It is always somebody else's fault. And this is the biggest red flag about Floyd Shivambu. He never acknowledges his mistakes. I've never heard him hold himself accountable for anything. It's always somebody else's fault. When they were in the EFF, it was the organization, because the organization was taking the positions that he was against. In the MK party, it was not him. It was the people that were surrounding Jacob Zuma. It's always somebody else's fault. You remember this guy also criticized Jacob Zuma for over 10 years, for I think almost 10 years. And when he went and joined the political party of Jacob Zuma, he told the South Africans that Jacob Zuma is the best thing since sliced bread. And he told South Africans that he was misled about Jacob Zuma, and everything that he said when he was in the EFF, he was misled by the media. The same guy who made it very clear that they do not believe in the media. They have the information sometimes that the South Africans are not in possession of. And him discrediting Jacob Zuma, he was misled. So it was quite funny to look at Floyd Shivambu to say, why are you saying you were misled? Why are you saying you were misled? Why are you not just apologizing to Jacob Zuma? And I think, again, this is the reason why, even in the MK party, it was very hard for those people to trust him, because he could not just acknowledge what he did to Jacob Zuma. I mean, like Jacob Zuma, there's absolutely no way that he had forgotten what Floyd Shivambu did to him. These people, they literally cost him his presidency. So if you're going to cost me my presidency and you want to come to my political party, the first thing you should do is to acknowledge what you did to me. Don't tell me that you were misled. Some people told you these things and now you were feeding this information to millions and millions of EFF supporters. Now that he has left the MK party, he's telling South Africans that that thing, it is not a political party. It is nothing but a Jacob Zuma stock fell. This is what he's telling South Africans right now. So according to Floyd Shivambu, the only organization that is reputable, it is his own organization. The ANC, no. The EFF, no. Umkhonto weSizwe Party, no. Africa Mayibuye movement, right. And what happened with his unity talk? What happened with his unity talk? Because he was the one that was actually pushing a lot for unity. He was pushing for a lot for these black political parties to come together to unify when he was in the EFF. But right now, he says that, no, we are on our own. We're going to do this thing by ourselves. And I think this is something that Floyd Shivambu actually needs to look into, holding himself accountable. If he would actually hold himself accountable, more people would actually view him differently. But the fact that this guy will never hold himself accountable, he will never accept to making wrong decisions, he will never do that. It's always somebody else's fault. This is the only reason why it's going to be very hard, I think, for South Africans to trust Floyd Shivambu. So how do you think this political party is going to do, guys, in 2026 and 2029? Do you think that the Africa Mayibuye movement is going to get enough votes in 2026 and 2029. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. And the most important part, subscribe. It's Friday, guys. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.